Most people never realize the creative power hidden in their own words. What you have talked about for the last 24 hours is, right now, growing silently in the fertile soil of the universe. Your words are not just empty sounds or arbitrary symbols. They are living forces, carrying your energetic DNA, programmed to germinate into your tangible reality. Wallace D. Wattles, one of the pioneers of New Age thought, discovered this fundamental principle more than a century ago, long before quantum physics confirmed the observer's influence on reality. In his nearly forgotten manuscripts, he revealed a truth that few still fully understand. There is an exact science to materializing prosperity through the power of conscious speech. There is one thinking substance of which all things are made, wrote Wattles, and which, in its original state, pervades, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the universe. This substance responds, first and foremost, to what you declare with your words. It works like a cosmic soil, ready to receive any verbal seed you plant in it. Observe the people around you. Those who constantly talk about financial difficulties remain in perpetual cycles of scarcity. Individuals who repeatedly describe their bodies as sick or weak manifest exactly these conditions. It's not coincidence or bad luck. It's pure science, the science of seed words. When you say "I'm tired," you are not simply describing a temporary condition. You are literally planting fatigue in the fertile soil of universal substance. When you repeat, "I never have enough money," you're not just commenting on your current financial situation. It is programming the quantum field to perpetuate this pattern of scarcity. Wattles' revolutionary discovery was precisely this. His words are not passive reflections of his reality. They are its active creators. And this principle applies whether you are aware of it or not. Most people live their entire lives without ever realizing that they carry a magic wand on the tip of their tongue, continually shaping their destiny through the vibratory power of each word spoken. Modern science now confirms what Wattles intuitively proposed. Neuroplasticity studies demonstrate how language literally reshapes our brains. Epigenetics reveals how environmental factors, including the words we hear and speak, can alter the expression of our DNA. Quantum physics establishes that subatomic particles respond to the observer's expectation, remaining in states of probability until they are fixed by an act of observation or statement. Think about this for a moment. How many words do you pronounce in a single day? Hundreds? Thousands? Each of them carries a unique vibratory charge. Each one plants a specific seed in the universal field. And as any wise farmer knows, you reap exactly what you sow, no more, no less. This is the immutable law of the universe, as constant as gravity. The revolutionary power of the Wattles technique lies precisely in this point. You can deliberately choose which seeds to plant. You can select words that germinate in abundance instead of scarcity, and health instead of illness, and joy instead of suffering. The universe does not judge your words as true or false based on your current condition. It simply responds to your vibrational charge and faithfully materializes them. The thinking substance that Wattles described is not a mystical or religious concept, but a fundamental scientific reality. In essence, it is the primordial stuff of the universe, the quantum field that modern physicists now recognize as the basis of all matter and energy. This substance is intelligent, responsive, and infinitely malleable, molding itself according to the vibrational patterns that are imprinted on it. When Wattles stated that thought is the only force capable of producing tangible wealth from formless substance, he was articulating the same principle. That quantum physics would confirm decades later. Consciousness directly influences matter, and spoken words represent the most concentrated and directive form of this creative power of thought. The specific vibration of each spoken word creates an energetic mold in the thinking substance. This vibration is not merely a metaphor, it is a measurable physical phenomenon. Studies using cystoscopy reveal that different words produce different patterns in water. Because our bodies are made up mostly of water, every word we speak literally reshapes our cellular biology. What radically differentiates Wattles' approach is his understanding of thinking substance as completely neutral and impartial. It does not discriminate between good and bad, true or false, possible or impossible. It simply receives any vibrational impression and manifests it in accordance with its essential nature. This is why people who constantly talk about illness tend to get sick, while those who consistently talk about prosperity tend to prosper, regardless of their initial circumstances. Thinking substance moves according to its thoughts, wrote Wattles. And your words are the most potent expression of these thoughts. When you say something out loud, you add to the mental vibrations the power of physical sound waves, a combination that dramatically speeds up the manifestation process. Modern science confirms this principle across several fields. Cardiac coherence studies demonstrate that positive feelings, expressed verbally, generate harmonic patterns in the heartbeat. Research in psychoneuroimmunology reveals that positive affirmations strengthen the immune response. Quantum mechanics establishes that particles can exist in multiple potential states until they are fixed by an act of observation, essentially, a declaration of what reality will be experienced. This understanding of thinking substance eradicates any arbitrary conception of luck or bad luck. There is no chance in Wattles' universe, only cause and effect. The cause is your vibrations expressed through words. The effect is the materialization of these vibrations into your tangible experience. This process is as precise and predictable as any physical law. It is crucial to understand that thinking substance does not operate in the field of human morality or judgment. It does not reward positive words or punish negative words. It operates purely by resonance and vibratory affinity. What you sow verbally, you will inevitably reap, not because you deserve it, but because that is how the universe fundamentally works. This understanding transforms every word you speak into an act of conscious creation. Each verbal statement becomes a specific instruction to the thinking substance. And once you understand this principle, you will never again be able to speak carelessly or recklessly. Each word becomes a seed deliberately selected and planted in the infinite garden of creation. Your mind is a fertile garden, and your words are the seeds that determine what will grow in it. This is not just a poetic concept, but a literal description of how human consciousness interacts with the universal field. Each word spoken plants a specific seed that will inevitably germinate according to its essential nature. Most people unknowingly cultivate mental gardens full of weeds. I'm so stressed. I never have enough time. Things always go wrong for me. With the economy like this, it's impossible to prosper. These seemingly harmless statements are, in reality, toxic seeds planted in the fertile soil of thinking substance. And like any seed, they follow an inviolable genetic program. They cannot produce anything other than what their intrinsic nature contains. Wallace D. Wattles discovered a fundamental principle. There are no neutral words. Each phrase uttered carries a specific vibratory charge that determines exactly the type of reality that will germinate from it. It is as immutable a law as that which dictates that tomato seeds will produce tomatoes, and thorn seeds will produce thorns. Verbal weeds are particularly dangerous because they spread automatically. When you say "I'm sick," your brain immediately searches for evidence to confirm that statement, finds the slightest sign of physical discomfort, amplifies it, and thus reinforces the original statement. This self-perpetuating cycle creates deeper and deeper neural shortcuts, until the negative affirmation becomes your automatic, unconscious response. A single negative thought expressed verbally may not seem significant. However, when repeated daily, it becomes a dominant neural pattern. Just as a single weed may seem harmless, but when we allow it to spread its seeds, it soon takes over the entire garden. Neuroscience confirms this principle through the famous maxim, "Neurons that fire together permanently connect." Your habitual words literally sculpt your physical brain. The principle of inevitable harvest is inviolable. You will always reap precisely what you sow verbally, no more, no less. There is no escape from this universal law, just as there is no escape from the law of gravity. The only freedom you have is the conscious choice of which seeds to plant. To transform your mental garden, you must first become aware of the seeds you have been unconsciously planting. Observe your everyday speech. What phrases do you usually repeat? What statements do you make about your health, your finances, your relationships, your future? These declarations are promises made to thinking substance, and they will be fulfilled with mathematical precision. Many people resist this concept, arguing, "But I'm just describing my current reality. I have debt, so it's true to say I don't have enough money." This is precisely the mistake that keeps so many people trapped in perpetual cycles of limitation. By continually describing your current condition, you perpetuate it indefinitely. The Wattles technique requires you to talk not about what is, but about what you want to create. Imagine a gardener who, seeing his soil covered in weeds, continued to spread more weed seeds, justifying, "I'm just being realistic about what's already growing here." Such behavior would be absurd. Yet this is exactly what most people do with their words on a daily basis. A healthy mental garden requires constant vigilance. Every word spoken must be consciously chosen. Like a selective gardener who carefully examines each seed before planting it. This level of verbal awareness may seem exhausting initially. However, as new patterns become established, their nature becomes automatic, as natural as breathing. Transforming your verbal garden is not an exercise in superficial positive thinking. It is a scientific practice based on a deep understanding of how consciousness interacts with the universal field. Each conscious word is a specific instruction to the thinking substance, a deliberately selected seed that will inevitably produce a harvest in accordance with its nature. The genius of Wattles lies in the systematization of a practical method for using the creative power of words. His technique is not a superficial positive thinking exercise, but a precise science of reprogramming thinking substance through conscious verbal statements. The first fundamental principle of the Wattles technique is clarity. Before uttering any seed words, you must be absolutely clear about what you want to manifest. Vague statements produce vague results. "I want more money" is inaccurate and therefore ineffective. "I am receiving $5,000 monthly through my cryptocurrency investments" contains the vibrational clarity necessary to accurately impress thinking substance. The second principle is conviction. Your seed words must be pronounced with absolute inner certainty, as if they were already manifest reality. This conviction is not self-deception, but a profound understanding that in the quantum field, all possibilities already exist simultaneously. Your conviction selects which of these possibilities will materialize in your experience. When Wattles declared "I'm prosperous," he was not denying his current reality, but actively selecting which reality he would experience. The third principle is consistency. Occasional seeds do not produce abundant harvests. The technique requires consistent planting of the same seed words until they penetrate deeply into the subconscious and reconfigure its dominant neural patterns. Wattles recommended saying seed words upon waking, before bed, and at regular intervals throughout the day, creating a constant bath of transformative vibrations. The first practical step to implementing the technique is to identify limiting statements. In your everyday vocabulary, observe your daily speech carefully. Write down phrases like "I can't afford this," "I'm exhausted," "I'll never find the ideal partner," "It's too difficult for me." These are your current verbal weeds, the toxic seeds you have unconsciously planted in your mental garden. The second step is verbal transmutation, the conscious transformation of these limiting statements into expansive seed words. "I can't afford" that turns into "I have abundant resources to acquire everything I want and need." "I'm exhausted" becomes "I feel vital energy flowing through every cell in my body." "I will never find the ideal partner" translates into "I naturally attract harmonious and loving relationships." "It's very difficult for me" becomes "I accomplish everything with ease and grace." The third step is to apply the gratifying declaration method, speaking as if you have already received what you want to manifest. Wattles discovered that thinking substance responds more quickly when its seed words are expressed in present tense with gratitude. "I am deeply grateful to receive $10,000 a month" is infinitely more potent than "one day I will have enough money." Anticipatory gratitude creates a vibratory field that dramatically speeds up the manifestation process. The emotional tone with which you pronounce your seed words is crucial. Mechanical statements, without emotional involvement, produce weak or null results. The Wattles technique requires you to inject each seed word with the emotion corresponding to the already realized state. When you declare I am vibrant with health, you should feel vitality pulsing in every cell. By affirming I live in abundance, you should experience a feeling of completeness and financial security. Emotion is the catalyst that accelerates the germination of your verbal seeds. Consider the transformation of these common expressions. I'm trying to lose weight becomes my body is naturally finding its ideal weight of 150 pounds. I hope to get that contract translates into I attract ideal clients who value and generously compensate my work. If I'm lucky, things will get better becomes I create my own reality. Through my conscious words, I don't know how to solve this turns into infinite wisdom flows. Through me, revealing perfect solutions to every situation. To create your own transformative statements, ask yourself, how would someone who already lives the reality I want to manifest speak? This simple question allows you to transcend your limiting conditioning and access the vibrational pattern of someone who has already experienced the desired manifestation. Consistent practice of this technique literally rewires your neural circuits. Neuroplasticity studies demonstrate that new verbal patterns, when repeated consistently, create new synaptic connections that eventually become dominant. What initially seems artificial gradually becomes your natural, automatic response, your vibrational new normal. One of the most common reasons for failure to apply the Wattles technique is a fundamental misunderstanding of the germination time of seed words. Just like in the plant kingdom, different seeds require different incubation periods before they emerge visibly above the ground. This natural law of development cannot be accelerated through impatience or abandoned through disbelief. Imagine a farmer planting oak seeds and, after just 3 days, digging them up to see if they are growing. This behavior would prevent any possibility of germination. However, this is precisely what many people do with their seed words. They declare I'm prosperous for a few days and, seeing no immediate changes in their bank account, conclude this doesn't work, effectively unearthing their seeds just as they begin their invisible germination process. Impatience is the biggest enemy of effective manifestation. Wattles emphasized the importance of understanding that most of the creative process takes place in the invisible. Between the time a seed word is planted and its tangible manifestation, there is a period of silent, imperceptible development. During this phase, nothing appears to be happening on the surface, but beneath the ground, an extraordinary reconfiguration is underway. There are subtle signs that indicate that your seed words are germinating, even when they have not yet produced visible fruit. The first sign is a change in your internal perception. You begin to feel differently about the subject of your statements. Even though nothing has changed externally, a sense of calm replaces anxiety. A positive expectation replaces fear. These are reliable indicators of ongoing germination. The second sign is the emergence of synchronicities, seemingly coincidental events related to your seed words. By declaring I attract ideal business opportunities, you may suddenly come across a relevant article, overhear a meaningful conversation, or receive an unexpected invitation. These are not coincidences, but early manifestations of your developing seeds. The third sign is a change in your own behavior without conscious effort. After consistently planting health seed words, you may find yourself naturally choosing more nutritious foods or feeling a spontaneous urge to exercise. These behavioral changes are not caused by willpower, but by natural alignment with the new vibration you have established through your conscious words. The law of correspondence between the mental and physical worlds is inviolable. The external always aligns, eventually, with the internal. This is the scientific promise of the Wattles technique. However, the time required for this correspondence to manifest visibly varies significantly depending on several factors: the depth of your previous limiting patterns, the clarity and consistency of your new statements, your ability to maintain conviction during the period of invisibility, and karmic factors that go beyond your current understanding. Consider the story of Sarah, an entrepreneur who applied the Wattles technique to transform her business. For 6 months, he consistently stated, I attract ideal clients who value and compensate me generously for my services. In the first 4 months, absolutely nothing changed in your external reality. However, She persisted, understanding the principle of germination time. In the 5th month, he received an unexpected email from a potential client. In the 6th month, he signed 3 new contracts that tripled his annual revenue. If he had abandoned his practice in the 4th month, he would have lost the harvest that was already developing in the unseen. During the period of invisibility, it is crucial to maintain faith, not a blind or naive faith, but a scientific understanding of how the manifestation process operates. The Wattles technique is not magic. It is science, as predictable and reliable as the germination of an apple seed on an apple tree. The only unknown variable is the exact time that the process requires in each specific case. The most destructive mistake you can make during this period is to uproot your seeds through contradictory words. Declaring I am abundant in the morning and then complaining I never have enough money in the afternoon creates a vibrational interference that completely neutralizes your efforts. During the germination period, consistency is not just important, it is absolutely essential. Wattles recommended keeping a written record of your seed words in the time that has passed since you began your practice. This journaling not only strengthens your discipline, but also allows you to recognize patterns in your own manifestation cycles. Some people find that their financial seeds germinate in approximately 45 days, while their relationship seeds may require 90 days. This personalized knowledge becomes invaluable for future demonstrations. The Wattles technique can be applied to transform 7 fundamental areas of life. Each represents a specific soil where its seed words can blossom into abundant manifestations. For each soil, there are specific seed words that resonate with its particular vibration, accelerating the manifestation process. On the soil of financial prosperity, your words must reflect the fundamental truth of unlimited abundance. Wattles taught that poverty is unnatural, a distortion created solely by limiting vibrational patterns expressed through unconscious words. To reconfigure this soil, completely eliminate from your vocabulary phrases like I can't afford it, it's too expensive, money doesn't grow on trees. Replace them with statements like money flows to me easily and abundantly. I am a magnet for prosperity. My income continually increases from expected and unexpected sources. John, a college professor with chronic financial problems, rigorously applied this technique for 6 months. He eliminated all mention of scarcity from his vocabulary and declared daily, I am infinitely prosperous and attract wealth from multiple sources. In the 3rd month, he unexpectedly received a proposal to write a textbook. In the 5th month, he was invited to a high-value consultancy. By the end of the 1st year, his income had tripled, not by accident or luck, but by the conscious reprogramming of the financial soil through his seed words. In the soil of health and vitality, your statements must align with the natural perfection of the body. Wattles understood the deep connection between words and physical expression. Every time you declare I'm sick, my knee is killing me, I'm in poor health, you are literally programming your body to manifest these conditions. Transform these toxic seeds into statements. Like every cell in my body vibrates with perfect vitality, my immune system is powerful and efficient. I radiate health and energy from the inside out. Elizabeth, diagnosed with fibromyalgia, applied this approach alongside her medical treatment. He eliminated all references to illness and began declaring, my body regenerates itself perfectly every moment. Within 4 months, her symptoms reduced significantly. Within a year, his doctor expressed astonishment at his inexplicable recovery. His seed words had literally reprogrammed his biological expression. On the ground of relationships, your words create the energetic patterns that determine who you attract and how you interact. Statements such as all men are unfaithful, women are only interested in money, I'm always abandoned create vibratory fields that materialize precisely these experiences. Transmute these destructive seeds into statements like I attract relationships based on love, respect, and mutual support. I am worthy of unconditional love. My relationships continually improve in depth and meaning. Michael, after years of failed relationships, adopted the practice of declaring daily, I attract my ideal partner who shares my values and vision for life. I consciously avoided any negative comments about past relationships or the opposite sex. 3 months later, he unexpectedly met his current wife at an event he would not normally attend. 7 years later, they live in a harmonious relationship that he directly attributes to his conscious verbal reprogramming. On the ground of purpose and career, your words determine not only what you do, but the impact and satisfaction you experience. Statements like "I hate my job," "It's impossible to find something I love that pays well," "I'm stuck in this career" create vibrational limitations that prevent you from aligning with your true calling. Turn them into seed words like "I contribute in meaningful ways," and "I am abundantly rewarded. My natural talents find perfect expression. My work is a natural extension of who I am." Sophia, a dissatisfied corporate executive, began declaring, "I am in the ideal position where my creativity is valued and compensated generously." He consciously avoided complaining about his current job, maintaining a vibrational focus on his statement. Within 2 months, she was approached by an innovative startup offering exactly the creative environment she was looking for, with a significant salary increase. His career transformation was no accident, but a direct result of his consciously planted verbal seeds. On the ground of personal growth, your words determine your capacity for evolution and transcendence. Statements like "I'm not good at learning new things," "I'm too old to change." This is simply how I create vibrational barriers that impede your development. Replace them with seeds of growth like "I learn and integrate new concepts easily." I continually evolve in all areas of my life. Transformation is my natural state of being. On the ground of spiritual connection, your words determine your perception of the relationship with the divine. Statements such as "God is punitive," "I am not worthy of grace," "The divine is separate from me" create vibratory densities that obscure your true spiritual nature. Turn them into seed words like "I am a divine expression in human form. Universal wisdom flows through me constantly. Each moment is a sacred communion with the whole." On impacto no mundo soil, your statements shape how you influence the collective. Words like "one person cannot make a difference," "the world is doomed," "people are fundamentally selfish" create limiting fields that restrict your potential to contribute. Transmute them into potent seeds like "My existence positively transforms everything I touch. I am a catalyst for constructive change. My presence naturally elevates the consciousness around me." Martin Luther King Jr. intuitively understood the power of seed words when he declared, "I have a dream." This was not a mere poetic expression, but a precise instruction to the thinking substance. A verbal seed planted in the collective soil that continues to germinate decades after its utterance. Its fruits are visible in the social transformations that continue to manifest themselves, demonstrating the transgenerational power of consciously planted words. The effective implementation of the Wattles technique often encounters internal and external resistance that can compromise its transformative potential. Understanding and transcending these blocks is essential to reap the full benefits of consciously planting seed words. Intellectual skepticism represents the first and most common block. The rational mind, conditioned by scientific materialism, often rejects the principle that words can create tangible reality. "This is pseudoscience," argues the critical inner voice. "Mere words cannot change my bank account." This skepticism, while understandable, ignores recent discoveries in quantum physics, neuroscience, and psychoneuroendocrine that confirm precisely what Wattles intuited decades ago. To transcend this blockage, it is not necessary to abandon intellectual discernment, but to expand your definition of scientific. Genuine science is based on experimentation, not dogma. Approach the Wattles technique as a controlled experiment. Apply it rigorously for 90 days, meticulously documenting your results without drawing premature conclusions. This experimental commitment allows your rational mind to verify the effectiveness of the method through direct experience, rather than rejecting it based on theoretical assumptions. Impatience with results constitutes the second significant blockage. Contemporary instant gratification culture creates unrealistic expectations about the time it takes to manifest. After 2 weeks of declaring "I attract ideal clients," the lack of visible results leads many to abandon the practice. just as the seeds are beginning their invisible development. To overcome this block, establish a realistic time commitment based on an understanding of the germination process. Oaks do not grow in days, nor do profound transformations manifest instantly. Commit to 6 months of consistent practice regardless of visible results. Keep a daily record of your practices and notice subtle changes in your internal perception, even when external transformations are not yet evident. Counterprogramming the environment represents a substantial challenge, even if you consistently practice the technique. You are immersed in a densely programmed collective field with limiting vibrations. The news, casual conversations, the workplace, they all constantly bombard you with verbal seeds of scarcity, fear, and separation that can contaminate your carefully cultivated mental garden. To protect your seeds from this toxic environment, implement a selective information fast, drastically limit exposure to negative news, grievance-based conversations, and vibrationally dense environments. Consciously build a nourishing verbal ecosystem through elevated readings, inspiring companionship, and immersion in artistic expressions that resonate with the vibrations you want to cultivate. This is not isolation, but intentional curation of your vibrational environment. Fear of disappointment works as a defense mechanism that sabotages the manifestation process. If you create high expectations and they are not fulfilled, the pain will be unbearable. Argues the mind? This fear leads to hesitation in fully committing to the practice, always maintaining a skeptical escape door that, ironically, prevents precisely the desired results. To transcend this block, recognize that true disappointment comes not from trying and failing, but from never experiencing your full potential. Understand that complete emotional investment is not optional in the Wattles technique, it is essential. Statements pronounced with mental reservation produce correspondingly limited results. Commit fully to the process, recognizing that any apparent failure is simply educational feedback that refines your understanding and application. Inconsistency in practice represents the fifth crucial roadblock, as sporadic physical exercise does not transform the body. Seed words planted occasionally do not transform reality. Many begin the technique with enthusiasm, applying it intensely for a few days, then abandoning it for weeks before briefly resuming it, a pattern that guarantees mediocre or no results. To establish inviolable consistency, integrate the practice into your daily routine through habit. Anchors: associate your statements with unavoidable activities like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, or the commute to work. Establish physical reminders in your environment: sticky notes on the mirror, alarms on your cell phone, symbolic objects on your desk. Create unbreakable morning and evening rituals that include your declarations, regardless of external circumstances. The journey of transformation through seed words is rarely linear. Moments of doubt, regression to old patterns, and apparent plateaus are natural parts of the process. In these challenging times, the support of a community of practitioners becomes invaluable. Actively seek out other individuals applying similar principles, whether in person or through online groups. The collective vibratory field of committed practitioners dramatically amplifies the potency of their individual words. Meticulously documenting your journey simultaneously serves as a record of progress and an accountability tool. Keep a seed journal where you record daily your declarations, emerging insights, observe synchronicities, and subtle shifts in your internal perception. This record becomes particularly valuable during periods of doubt, when revisiting already manifested transformation strengthens your conviction. Finally, adjust your expectations about the manifestation process. The Wattles technique is not a magic formula for instant results, but a scientific method for gradual and systematic reprogramming of the vibratory field. Manifestations often arrive in unexpected ways, through unforeseen channels, and at times that defy your linear expectations. The flexibility to recognize and receive these unconventional manifestations differentiates successful practitioners from those who remain trapped in self-generated limitations. The words you speak are the most potent seeds you will ever plant. Each verbal statement inexorably shapes your destiny through the inviolable law of vibrational resonance. The Wattles technique is not an abstract theory or esoteric practice, but a precise science of consciously reprogramming the universal field through the transformative power of deliberately selected and consistently planted words. The essential principles of this science are simple, yet profound. Thinking substance, the primordial material of the universe, responds faithfully to the vibratory impressions of its spoken words. There is no chance or luck, just cause and effect. The verbal seeds you plant determine, with mathematical precision, the harvest you will experience in every dimension of your life. To implement this transformation today, start with 3 fundamental steps. First, consciously notice your current verbal patterns. During the next 24 hours, become an attentive witness to every word you speak. Identify the limiting seeds that you have habitually planted and recognize your creative role in the materialization of your current reality. This non-judgmental observation is the foundation of all authentic transformation. Second, select a priority area for immediate transformation. Instead of trying to rebuild your entire verbal garden simultaneously, focus initially on a single soil, be it financial prosperity, physical health, relationships, professional purpose, or any other dimension that is meaningful to you at this time. This focused approach focuses your transformative energy, accelerating visible results. Third, create and implement your custom seed words for this area. Formulate 3 to 5 powerful statements that encapsulate the reality you want to experience, expressed in present tense and charged with emotional conviction. Say these statements when you wake up, before going to sleep, and at strategic moments during the day, knowing that each repetition strengthens your impression on the universal field. We invite you to embark on a transformative 21-day experiment with the Wattles technique. This period represents the minimum necessary to establish new neural patterns and begin the vibrational reprogramming process. Commit yourself absolutely during this initial period, suspending skepticism and maintaining strict discipline in your verbal practices. The results experienced at this stage often provide the tangible evidence and motivation needed for permanent integration. Deeply understand the responsibility inherent in the creative power of the word. Your statements not only affect your individual experience, but influence the collective field we all share. By consciously raising your verbal vibrations, you directly contribute to the elevation of planetary consciousness. This is not just a work of personal transformation, but an act of service to collective evolution. The words you speak today are actively creating the tomorrow you will experience. There is no greater or more immediate power at your disposal than this. There is no practice more transformative than the conscious selection of verbal seeds that you plant moment by moment. The reality you desire already exists as potentiality in the quantum field. Your words are the instrument through which you select which of these infinite possibilities you will manifest in your tangible experience. Get started right now. Right now. Watch every word that comes out of your mouth like an attentive gardener watches what he plants in his sacred soil. Replace limiting patterns with expansive statements. Eliminate the language of scarcity and adopt the vocabulary of unlimited abundance. Your words don't lie. They create. They always created. And they will always create. The fundamental question is, what will you choose to create from this moment on?